GetFact. Hello and welcome to GetFact. In this episode, we're going to introduce you to 26 facts you probably didn't know about flying. Before the invention of airplanes back in the early 1900s, people relied on horses, buggies, trains, and ships, which took days, weeks, and even months to get them to their destinations. Defying the laws of gravity and flying with the birds, we can travel much faster through the sky than on land or water, arriving on the other side of the world in as little as around 16 hours. Hundreds of millions of passengers fly across the world each year, and most know the basics of how it all works, but there are also a ton of facts that would surprise even those most experienced frequent flyers. Now, put your tray table up, sit back and strap in, as we tell you 26 facts you probably didn't know about flying. Number 1. Pilots usually don't eat the same meals during the flight. Although unlikely, if the same meal was served to both pilots and was contaminated, both pilots could become sick and be unable to fly the plane. Because of this, most airlines ask that co-pilots are served completely different meals prepared separately, often one eating a meal from first class and the other from business. Number 2. Food on planes often tastes bad, and we know why. Why does aeroplane food never taste quite as good as when on the ground? The reason is that our senses of taste and smell are dulled by changes in air pressure and humidity by around 30%, causing our food to taste bland when eaten on board. Curiously, it only affects sweet and salty flavors, but not anything spicy and bitter. It even enhances the savory flavors of tomato juice, which accounts for the popularity of Bloody Marys during flights, as people think they taste much better on planes. Number 3. The tray tables are often more contaminated than the toilet. While on the subject of food, although cleaned regularly, the tray tables you eat your meal on can be up to 8 times dirtier than the flush button in the plane's toilet. Bon appetit! Number 4. Plane trails are almost entirely water. You know those streams you see behind a plane when you look at them from the ground? Those are condensation lines, which occur when the hot air from the exhaust of the plane meets the cold air of the sky. Believe it or not, there are conspiracy theorists that truly believe they contain menacing biological agents, spread by some evil government or entity, when in fact they are essentially only water vapor. Number 5. Planes are perfectly fine when hit by lightning. Planes are almost regularly struck by lightning during flight, estimated to be once for every 3,000 flight hours. But this is usually nothing of concern, as modern planes are designed to handle this by dispersing the electrical charge through the fuselage and releasing it through the tail, preventing any damage, and completely bypassing the inside of the plane and keeping the passengers and crew safe. Number 6. Think you locked the bathroom door on the plane? Think again. When you lock the door for the bathroom, besides to keep the door closed for privacy, it's for 2 other reasons: to turn on the light to show the toilet's in use, and to stop other passengers from accidentally opening the door. But did you know there's an external lock on the outside that for security and safety reasons can be operated by the crew, letting them open the door whenever they need? So no joining the Mile High Club or sneaking in a smoke break, as besides being illegal and inconsiderate to the other passengers, you may end up having an audience. Number 7. The air in a plane is drier than the desert. Ever noticed your eyes, nose, and throat drying out during a flight? It's because airplane cabins are pressurized, with the humidity level usually set to just 20%, which is half the humidity of the 40% our skin is used to. This is even drier than the Sahara Desert, which has around 25% humidity. Luckily, unlike the desert, there's plenty of water on the plane to keep you hydrated. Number 8. Your body loses 8 ounces, or a quarter of a liter of water for every hour in the air. Every hour you fly, that dry air we just discussed takes 8 ounces, or a quarter of a liter of water from your body. Over a 10-hour flight, that's about the equivalent of a 2-liter bottle. Stay hydrated, and keep drinking that water. Number 9. A commercial plane could fly more than twice the speed of sound. Before being retired from service due to safety concerns, The Concorde could fly at a speed of Mach 2, which is over twice the speed of sound. Passengers could travel between London and New York in just over 3 hours, when it normally takes more than 7. Number 10. Commercial jets are more fuel efficient than most cars. When you compare most cars to commercial planes in terms of fuel efficiency, cars use twice the energy to move that planes use to fly. The average car gets around 35 miles per gallon, compared to a plane's 0.2. But when you factor in the number of passengers, planes actually achieve around 100 miles per gallon for every passenger, much more efficient. Number 11. The cabin crew are normally paid only while the plane is in flight. Flight attendants are usually only paid flight time, which is the time between the plane leaving the gate at one airport and arriving at the gate at the next. This means they are often not paid for duties outside this, such as checking in tickets, boarding and offloading passengers, and cleaning up between flights. Most, however, consider the extra benefits they receive, such as free or discounted flights and free hotels outside their work time, to more than make up for this. Number 12. Planes are able to fly with only one working engine. Most planes can fly with just one engine operating, but this is only true during flight and landing, as reaching the thrust needed for takeoff would almost be impossible without a second running engine. Number 13. No operating engines at all? Not a problem. If all the engines happen to fail, the plane can fly and land as a glider. If the plane is at the usual flying altitude of 35,000 feet when it loses its engines, it will have 20 to 30 minutes of flight time to find a safe place to land. Number 14. The cabin lights are dimmed when landing for safety reasons. When landing at night, the cabin lights are dimmed, not to create a nice ambience, but to allow the passengers' eyes to adjust to the darkness, so that in case of an emergency, the passengers are able to see better and evacuate the plane more effectively. Number 15. Ashtrays are still supplied in the airplane toilets. Although smoking has been banned on flights for over 25 years, ashtrays are still installed in the bathrooms. This is because if a passenger disregards the signs and still lights up, the ashtray is there to safely collect the ash and put the cigarette out, avoiding any damage to the aircraft or cabin. Number 16. The oxygen tanks for passenger masks only hold 15 minutes of oxygen. This does not sound like much, but oxygen masks are only really needed in case of emergency at high altitudes, and it only takes 10 to 15 minutes for the plane to descend down to under 10,000 feet, where there is enough oxygen for the masks to no longer be needed. Number 17. The passenger windows have a small hole to help normalize cabin pressure. The tiny hole at the bottom of the passenger windows is called a bleed hole. This helps to regulate the difference in air pressure between inside and outside the cabin. It also stops frost forming on the windows by emitting moisture. Number 18. Most turbulence only causes the plane to drop a few feet. Turbulence is very common during flights, and it's considered normal and safe. The plane bumps, sways, or even plunges abruptly, causing passengers to feel queasy, anxious, fearful, or just uncomfortable. It can be caused by changes in weather, rough air and air pockets, high structures, mountains, and jet streams. Even though it may feel like you're riding on a roller coaster, most light turbulence only drops the altitude of a plane a few feet. Moderate turbulence, where the pilot may turn on the light to tell you to fasten your seatbelt and order the crew back to their jump seats, might move the plane 10 to 20 feet. The one to be most worried about is extreme turbulence, which is known to drop a plane up to a terrifying 100 feet. This is horror film type stuff. The best seats to reduce how much turbulence you feel are located at the most stable areas of the plane, which include the center of the cabin, over the wings and towards the front. Number 19. Some quick facts about 3 Boeings. The Boeing 747 contains around 175 miles of wires, as well as 6 million parts. The Boeing 767 holds about 24,000 gallons of fuel, which is enough to fill 1,200 minivans, and it takes 28 minutes to fill up. Its engines also blow enough air to fill a Goodyear blimp in 7 seconds. And the Boeing 787 can fly for 10,000 miles on one tank of fuel, which is enough for it to fly the circumference of Earth and only have to stop and refuel twice. Number 20. There are 9,700 planes and 1.2 million people in the air at any given time. The sky is very active, with around 93,000 flights taking off each day from some 9,000 airports, including over 30,000 flights with 2 million passengers in the United States alone. Number 21. There are red and green lights on the wings. It's difficult for pilots to see other planes at night, so all planes have a red light on the left wing and a green light on the right to help other pilots to determine the direction it's going. Additionally, when two planes meet in the sky, the pilots sometimes say hello to each other by flashing their landing or wing inspection lights. Number 22. Planes typically fly at an altitude of 35,000 feet, and there's many reasons for this. Aircraft usually fly at an altitude of around 35,000 feet, at a speed of around 500 miles, or 800 kilometers per hour. This height and above is known as the cruising altitude, as it has thinner air causing less drag on the plane, allowing it to cruise faster and easier through the air and resulting in better fuel efficiency. Other reasons for this altitude include flying above other traffic and hazards, such as birds, drones, light aircraft and helicopters, flying above weather conditions, avoiding turbulence which is less severe at this height, and in case of an emergency, this high altitude gives pilots more time to try to fix the problem or find a safe place to land. Number 23. Legally, you cannot die on a plane. Although rare, a passenger can sometimes pass away during a flight, but for legal reasons the flight crew cannot declare the person deceased. But what do they do with the body? Most of the time they move them to an empty row. And which section often has empty seats? That would be in first class. Nice free upgrade, but what a shame they won't get to enjoy it. Number 24. Just how long are the longest flights? Annoyed that your flight is around 10 hours long? Try these on for size. Currently, the longest non-stop flight in the world is by Singapore Airlines, flying from New York City to Singapore, at a distance of 9,585 miles, and taking 18 hours 40 minutes. But from late 2025, Australian airline Qantas Airways will be the king of non-stop flights, when it offers the route of Sydney to London, which covers 10,576 miles and takes around 20 hours. So long in fact, that passengers will witness 2 sunrises on the journey. Good morning, and good morning again. And as for the shortest flight, this is operated by Loganair between 2 of the Orkney Islands and Scotland. The distance is only 1.7 miles, and often lasts less than a minute. Number 25. Air travel is exhausting. You've been doing nothing but sitting there relaxing for hours, so why are we so tired at the end? It's more than just the lack of sleep working against you. The reduced air pressure when flying causes slightly less oxygen to get to your brain. This is called hypoxia, and although only mild, it can lead to a decrease in cognitive performance and reasoning. In addition, jet lag is caused by our body clock being out of sync to our new location. This can stop you sleeping at the right time and causes you to feel sleepy during the day, and generally feel groggy and out of it after landing. This usually settles within 48 hours as your body adjusts to the new local time. Number 26. Pilots have witnessed some weird things while flying. Pilots have a unique and unobstructed viewpoint while flying their plane that allows them to see many strange things. Among the many unusual sightings they've reported, pilots have seen UFOs, swirling hurricanes, rectangular-shaped icebergs, pink lakes, drones, geoglyphs, lightning, rainbows, and even balloons have appeared at high altitudes. Well, that's it for this video. Did you learn anything about flying that you didn't already know? Or do you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see in future videos? Let us know in the comments, and if you like what you saw, give us a big thumbs up. There's tons more videos coming up soon, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell button to be notified when our next great video goes live. Thanks for watching, and as always, get fact!